Welcome you to Swam Prabha channel. Today, our topic of discussing is identifying and defining the research problems in marketing research. So, the contents are like this: introduction of decision problem or management problem, then decision areas, research problems, then converting a decision area to research objective, which is most important. How we will convert the management decision problem to a research problem and to a research objectives. Then the summary of the contents. So after the study, we will be able to differentiate between a decision problem and a research problem. Second is appreciate the way in which a decision problem is defined in marketing research. Third is we will be able to demonstrate the different ways in which a decision problem is converted to a research problem. Last but not the least, the objective is to apply the process of developing a new concept to identify the information needs for a research study. Why it is important and why should we go for the research or marketing research? It is required to know and to identify the same in the unit. So the research process begins with the defining of a problem in which we can see what is the exact problem. We should define it. As we recognize the process of research, that the first step is defining the research problem. For example, a fruit and vegetable merchant would be curious as to why sales of organic fruits and vegetables are really not in line as expected. He was curious as to why he might not have received the anticipated return and what options need to consider while the making a decisions. Sometimes in this case we are taking the expertise decision or experience to take the decision. But why the research is required in this situation we are going to study. So these kind of decision making related problems need to be translated into research problems in order to identify the causes and offer potential solution from which the decision makers, in this case the fruits and vegetable retailer, may choose the best course of action. And now the questions that could be used to define the research problems are customer aware of the benefits of buying organic fruits and vegetables? That is the most important one. Whether the customers, the person who is responsible to incline or decline of the sales, are they aware of that kind of fruits and vegetables? That is the first questions to be asked. And the second is how might consumers be encouraged to spend more money on organic fruits and vegetables? Means it is a question of what is the significance and what is the importance of organic fruit and vegetables in our daily life or in our health, in case of our health. That should be known by the consumers. That is the second question. Then the third one is which customer segments should be targeted. So we cannot say that even if there is a awareness program or there is a significance importance of organic fruit and vegetable, that everybody cannot purchase or cannot afford this. So it means few people or few populations is there who is or who are the customer of this kind of fruits and vegetables. It means the third question says we have to segment this or we have to target this. What kind of promotion strategy would be most effective? Then we will think about that. Then finding awareness to these types of research questions through various steps of the research process would initially help the fruit and vegetable retailer make a decision. So after knowing that questions or these kind of questions, then we will go for finding the solution or the answers to such kind of questions. So here in this unit, we will discuss the process of identifying the research problem. See here we have discussed three questions regarding that fruit and vegetable of organic retailer. We are here can think about the solution or the answer of these questions. It is possible as because we defined the problems. So the research process says the first step is to defining the question is most important. Once we know the questions, or once we define the questions, then we'll be able to find the solution or to get the answer of these questions. So it is the most vital role in the research process to identifying the research problem, which we are going to discuss in this unit, how we will identify the research problems, and then we will how convert it into a research problems. In the second content of our study or this paper is decision area. So, what are the different areas are there, and what kind of areas are there which will help us to take the decision? We have seen here the problem definition phase is essential to the success of the research process, since a problem well defined is a problem half solved. As in mathematics, we are saying that understanding the problem is half solution. Once we will understand, then we can think about the solution, or where is the solution, or what should be the appropriate answer. But if the research problem is not clearly defined, or it is clearly not known to us, then we cannot think about the area of solution, or the where we will get the solution. These things will never come to our mind. So the probability of gathering the data needed to address the research problem increases if the problem can be properly identified. This necessitates a very precise alignment between the research problem and the problem facing the decision maker. So the major problem of the marketing managers while making decisions may be what to do in a specific situation. It is the challenging one. For example, how can a decline in market share be stopped? Is a question. Here, the declining market share is a symptoms, we can say. So there could be several reasons why market share is declining. And the other situation would be when opportunities in a new market segments are found while doing a marketing environment analysis. It's another one. This needs to be further explored from the perspective of marketing decision making. So these circumstances would call for decision making, which is why they are known as decision area. So we must know why decision area is there, and finding these underlying causes and establishing an opportunity is regarded as the problem of marketing research. So in order to make the best possible decision, it involves identifying the cause and obtaining the information that is required. So the first stage of the research process would therefore be to transform the decision making process into the research process by identifying the information that the decision maker needs. So these stages is known as the problem definition stage. So we can see here the figure 3.1 that shows the decision area. It is the flowchart of the decision area according to Pingali in 2010 he has given. The first is the marketing environment analysis, which need marketing strategy that will lead to marketing implementation, the strategy to be implemented. Then marketing implementation lead to symptoms. What are the symptoms here? We are discussing in the previous slide. There's low sales or low demand. Whatever may be the problem, or that is known as symptoms. Then from symptoms, we will need to make a decision, we can say. That is one way. Then the second way is marketing environment analysis will lead to the opportunity. Means we will go for the new segment to be tapped or to be adopted or to identify. That may lead us to make a decision also. So this flowchart tells how decision area is too important to identifying the research problem. Now, in the content 3.3, we are going to discuss the research problem. Though it is the process of defining research problem begins with the formulation of the research objectives. So, research objectives are a general definition of the information needed for marketing research studies. That is, understanding the effectiveness of the advertisement. Suppose it is a case of advertisement, we should understand if we are thinking about, or we are launching or giving any kind of promotional activity for a product or for a company or for any kind of services, then we should understand whether it is effective or not. But whether it is contributing any significant contribution to the promotion of this or to for the sale, increase the sales. Is it there? Is it effective? That should be understood. At the beginning of the research process, it might not be feasible to state the problem clearly. It is not so easy to clearly defining the problem from the first process, is because at the point often only the symptoms of the problem are visible. Because many a time we can if we will go for the literature, we will find that many a time the problem is not clear. All the time we can get some symptoms, so it is not so easy to decline different in giving the research problem from the beginning. So in order to define the research situation, some exploratory research may be done prior to formulating a more detailed problem statement. So we can say, once we get some symptoms, then what we will do, the next step, very next step is that, as it is not, the research problem is not clear, then we will go for a exploratory research. Then exploratory research will tell us what is the uh, what is the exact problem, because exploratory research always give us the knowledge about that problem with the help of that symptoms. So, since marketing research is an expensive process in terms of both time and money, a clear definition is essential. It is also very crucial that, as in marketing research, it takes more money, more talent, and more time also. So, we must be very careful before going to any kind of marketing research. The problem statement should be very clear. So how we will get the clear problem statement? Now we will thoroughly study the symptoms. From the symptoms, we will define or go for a exploratory research that will help us for a defining clear research problems. So by paying close attention to how the problem is defined, the researcher can establish appropriate study objectives, which in turn make it easier to collect useful and affordable data. Surveys of secondary data, experience surveys, or pilot studies are the most common method that are most commonly used in defining a research problem. So the research objectives are divided into wide range of research questions that would yield the precise information required to deal with the decision area. For example, the research questions for a study to prepare an action plan to ensure citizens follow COVID-19 protocol would be. So, despite its importance, many marketing research studies lack a clear definition of the problem. That is the problem which we were discussing in our previous slide. There is an assumption that marketing issues are well known, simple to define, and also obvious. For instance, a decline in sales is merely an effect, it is not a problem. This is the understanding which is prevailing now. Prior to that, the true problem may lie in how well the brand is accepted, as well as in the pricing, promotion, availability, and so on. So, in order to obtain relevant information to fix the problems, it becomes necessary to discover the true nature of the problem. This is the condition what we explained here. Why to identify the research problem? So here is a questions that the research question for study or prepare an action plan to ensure citizens follow COVID protocol or B. So first question is, who are the following and not following? Whether it is vaccinated, if vaccinated, then what is the number of doses? Then second option is it infected? What is the demographic profiles? That is the first questions. Then what is the second? Then what? What means what guidelines are they following or not following? Is there any gap? Second is, in what questions, the what are the consequences if they are not following? And what to do, what do you think? What do they think also about the rules? If guidelines are there, rules are there, what they are thinking. So many questions are there we have to address. We have to understand. Then only we can clearly define the research problem. Then the third question is, when are they following? they are following, when they are following, what are they following in occasions or not? How do they get the information? Once the information is there, whether they are getting and how they are, if they are getting, then how they are getting. Then second is, why are they following? Are they following for the sake of the fairness, or following as there is no options, like livelihood options, job requirement, peer pressure, compulsion? Are they responsible for following? While they are following, are these are the options responsible for that? And then third is not following. If it is not, if they are not following, then what is the reason why they are not following? For vaccinated, infected, prostate, nothing will happen, or problem is over. So these are the questions. In that angle, we have to think about the problem. Then only we can be able to clearly defining the research or can understand. Often the decision makers does not know what the precision problem is. Sorry, what is the precise problem is. There may only be a feeling that something is wrong, or perhaps a sense that marketing research be good. Or second is, problems are usually buried under a heap of symptoms. So problem identification or problem definition may involve probing into the symptoms to identify the problem. As a result, the process of transforming the decision problem into a research problem is very important. We can see here in the content 3.4 that converting a decision area into a research objectives. In previous content, we discussed how decision area is too important to frame a decision research problem. Then here we will understand how converting a decision area to research problem objectives. So the way the decision maker defines the decision problem is most important. For example, if Wipro Consumer Care and Lighting Limited wants to study the success of Ormax relaunch, that is given in the 3.1 picture, it exhibit in image of 3.1. The research brief could be, it termed as the research brief. You can see here, Ormax is made for men. So, Sir Wallace first launched Omax Soft nearly for 4 decades ago. Though the positioning was unique and predicted to be a success, the brand failed. Everything was in favor of the Omax, but again it is failed. So the country's old deodorant, men's soap or mask is back on the shelves. So Omask is now headed for a national-wide rollout as an umbrella premium men's grooming brand with Bollywood film star Shahid Kapoor as the brand ambassador. So this is run by Wipro Consumer Care and Lighting Limited. Would be relaunch the success of the same brand. So, by using the research brief, the decision maker and the researcher should work together to identify the study problems. So, it is a case of involvement of both the industry as well as the research problem. The researcher, as because the researcher will identify or will research what is the problem behind that, why this brand failed. Then industry, this necessity of industry is there also. It is also vital in that promotion of second launching of the same product. And in 3.2 also we can say we have illustrated the various method for identifying the research problem from the decision problem. So the different ways of converting the decision problem into a research problem are interaction method, decision tree approach. Third one is conceptualization. In conceptualization, again, there are two concepts that using existing concept. Then second one is developing a new concept. Either we are using the same previous or old concept which was exist. Now we are using the same with some different way. Or second one is we are totally ignoring the first one, but we are developing a new concept for the same. In 3.2 picture, we can see here the need of marketing decision has to tell that decision area not clear. or decision area is clear. If decision area is clear, then we will go for the conceptualization, or we can go for the decision approach, decision tree approach. If we are in conceptualization, then we have two options, that we use the existing concept as we discussed now, or we are going for a new concept for the same old study. It is about if decision area is clear. If decision area is not clear, then we will go further again interaction process to make the decision process or decision area to be very clear. In the subpoint 3.4.1, that is interactive method, which we shown here, the first method is interactive method. How it works? The interactive approach should be used if a decision maker is unable to state the problem clearly, or the researcher can formulate a preliminary problem statement by asking general questions such as, why do you feel the need of the research, and what do you know about the situation? This should be clear in interactive method. Interactive method. So, starting with the preliminary formulated problem statement, the researcher should then move to the more in-depth questions for the decision maker. The following are the example of such questions. These are the possible questions for interactive session that is given here. That why carry out marketing research when you might just make your decision based on existing knowledge? First one. Second says, what information will make a difference in the decision to be made? Third is, does the decision maker really need to know it's or not? Then the fourth one is, what decisions can be made with the information? If the discussion suggests that the decision is not possible with this information, then the information may not be useful. If it is not useful, then go to the second step, that what information will make the difference. Then if the information is relevant, suppose it is, we found it is relevant, then it becomes a research objective. Then we should go for the step 5. Step 5 says, would the research objective provide sufficient information? If yes, then go to the step 4, or step 6. If there is many research objectives, they must be prioritized according to how important and information to be needed. So these are the steps to be followed, and that I had given here in 3.3, the identify possible problem, which will lead us assume information is available. From the initially we are saying that information is, if we are saying that information is available, then will it answer the decision area? If the questions are there or the information is there, we should check whether this information is going to answer the decision area, which is most important in identifying the research problem. If yes, we found that the answer is sufficient for decision area, then what will it becomes research objective. If it is sufficient, then definitely that will become a research objective. Then, if it is research objective, then the information sufficient to be make the decision. If it is sufficient, then definitely we will go for a decision. Then, if it is yes sufficient, then prioritize research objectives based on the criticality of the information. Then, as there are more than one objectives, then we have to prioritize what is the most important one. But if we, in the step that the information is sufficient to make the decision, we found it is no, then what we will do? Now again we will go to what other information is required. It is also, we can come to this step if in the second step, that will it answer the decision area is also fine, no also we will move to that. What other information is required to get the decision area to be very clear? Then from that we will move to what information is required. We should know this is the not sufficient answer, then we should know what relevant or what information again it is required to be made it is sufficient. Then again we will go to, can decision be made with existing information? If it is yes, we will go to the information report. If it is no, also what information is required, then again we will move to that segment. Then the Dominic test will help us in identifying the problem objectives and also prioritizing them. It is most important. It can help the decision maker to relook at the decision area and allow notification of the decision area. Now we have a case now with us. The case name is Tata Steel introduces two new brands of coated products. Let us see what happened here. Tata Steel has introduced a new brand of coated products named Galvara ROS to address the unmet requirements of the emerging corporates accounts, that is ECH. So this product can be created to meet the evolving needs of the micro segments while strengthening the pillars of sustainability, economical sustainability and social sustainability, critically to growth and development. So chief of marketing and sales, Tata Steel said, what he is saying, now these new product brands are the pillars of future growth and are not only economic friendly, eco-friendly, but also eco-effective also. So it will create a green, healthy and productive ecosystem of stakeholders that produces eco-friendly products to meet customer needs of today and tomorrow. This is the case. So the overreaching requirements in today's context is to realign, reboot, and recharge the manufacturing ecosystem to build a resilient and future-ready MSME sector. Tata Steel said, with the launch of these innovative and environment-friendly products, the company added it reaffirmed its commitment to create a sustainable ecosystem for stakeholders. Decision, the design a marketing research study to understand the need of Galva ROS for MSME buyers now. So, what are the decision? This is the case in front of us. Now, coming to the decision area, which is most important. Recently, we studied the decision area is like this: develop a marketing plan to create a green, healthy, and productive ecosystem of stakeholders that produces eco-friendly products to meet the customer's need of today's and tomorrow's. So, the decision area says develop a marketing plan that will create, as if we are talking about green, healthy and eco-friendly, eco-resilient, so we should go for a plan to create a green and healthy product, eco-productive ecosystem for the stakeholders. Huh? Then realign, reboot and recharge the manufacturing ecosystem to build a resilient and future ready MSME sector. So the big picture offers a host of unbeatable advantages that reduces wastage and deliver great value. A high quality coated steel offering that ensure a better return on investment, thereby fulfilling the need for economic sustainability to sustain businesses for tomorrow. So the product is available in various grades with strict tolerance maintained. So there is a need to build a marketing orientation that the same force each, that customers, competitors, cost and context. So satisfy the needs for the customers, need of the customer better than the competitors at the lowest cost and in the given context, which is most important. So research objectives to be confirmed by interaction. So as per the interaction method, the market potential, competitive advantage of this product for different emerging segments, then buying process of emerging segments of MSMEs and the role of influence. These are to be studied. So what should be now? The question is what should be the research questions? So, an interactive process would help identifying the gaps in information of making the decisions. What is offer? The first question is what is offer? Under this question, we need some gaps. Need gaps. Whether is there any gaps? Gaps means catering or unmet needs of emerging segments, and how to define the marketing products, whether it is economic or environmentally friendly, and who should want it, who are the customers, who is willing for that. Then MSME segments if we will cover, then what is the requirements like currently for friendly offering, that is ducting, HVAC, cable tray, what are the others, we should understand first. Then the question is why. This is competitive advantage. Benefits like how are the existing offerings on these dimensions, that is better yield of environment friendly or superior corrosion resistance or uniform coating thickness or strict tolerance is maintained, better return on investment by offering customized product or wide range various grades availability is there or not, then customization, then why is this better than the other current offering or positioning, then differentiator for different segments. In how questions we can say how channel information, like where are the MSMEs getting their current requirements, does Tata Steel have a reach to supply to this channel or not, or does Tata Steel have a bargaining power with the channels partners or not. In communication also we can say how communication information, like what are the communication routes available for this them, then does Tata still have access to the channel? All these questions to be addressed to be understand fast. Since Tata Steel would be dealing with some of these segments, their current understanding obtained through the interactive process would define the scope of the study, which is exactly required. The second approach was 3.4.2, that the decision tree approach. So it says a decision tree is defined as a model where the extracted information is stored, is sorted hierarchically, or you can say priority according to priority basis by use of connected nodes. That is, a decision tree is essentially a diagram that represents the main events that introduce uncertainty as well as possible outcomes of all those decisions and events. So decision tree is one of the most systematic tools of decision making theory and practice. Such trees are particularly helpful in situations of complex multi-stage decision problems. So the decision tree should start with the basic questions and then break it down into specifics. This is explained the use of case in Gar- Gar- Garger's Butler. In this case, we can see here, garage butler is a device that will automatically close your garage door when you forget. You can now have peace of mind knowing that you never have to worry about leaving it open for ever again. So it is a very good case. So we all hear the reports of home begin vandalized because the garage door was often left open. So everyone at one time or another has inevitably left their garage door open. So the investment of this add-on called garage bottle is a small price to pay for peace of mind. So the garage door will close after a time delay of 3, 10, 20, 30, 45, or 60 minutes. Usually, the shorter time is ideal. However, in the winter time, when one would like to start the car and let him warm up, a longer time is preferred to prevent the build-up and deadly adjusted time from. As we know, India is a diverse country where the size does not fit all. So when planning surveys and studies as well as choosing local markets, researchers must be aware of the cultural peculiarities and unique to various regions of the nation. So India's vast and diverse population poses a major challenges for marketing research, conducting national surveys, requiring divided country into different hundreds of districts and all such things is important. So we can again go to the same case that door may be programmed to stay open to clean out the garage, have a garage sale, etc. If you forget to close the door will be closed when it gets dark. It is also another option. But now thing is that works with all current opener safety features. What about easy installation attached to your current opener button? Timer. That is what should be the minute? What is the timing or minutes be closed? Then light sensor closes the garage door when it is get dark. Hold button, beeper. After closing period of time, it will beep for 30 seconds. On or off button, giving you complete control. Status indicator lights. Again, manual open or close button. Double-sided mounting tab. No holes for drills. Then patented lowest cost product in the market. So these are the things which is applicable for this garage closer or door opener. So here we can see the decision tree of the garage bottle. The garage bottle was created as a security device to easy attach to your current garage door opener. According to the statistics, half of all Bulgarians occurs from the garage door opening left open. As we know, we are agree with that also. The garage bottler will eliminate the possibility from this happening to you. You can now have peace of mind and never get to worry about the garage door ever again. So we can see here what are the hierarchy, what is important from where to where we have to move. It is clearly mentioned in the decision tree. So now the decision tree make us understand about all the situations. Then once we understand all the situation, we can easily think about its implementation, or we can think about the problems whether it is there any kind of. Then coming to the conceptualization. Conceptualization stage is a process where we can an issue is understood by breaking down the concept into variables such that the relationship between them is identified. As we discussed, there are two type of thing in conceptualization. Either we are using the existing concept for the product or the companies or the services in the under the research, or we are generating or formulating or developing a new concept for that. Okay, so in order to often relevant information, Champagne highlights that importance of conceptual thinking at the initial stage of marketing. Conceptualization, as it is cover two things by applying this conceptualization, existing concept and developing a new concept are discussed through two case study. Here we have also two case study for two type of concept, that whether we are using the existing conceptual concepts or we are going for the development of new concepts. In the first case, environment consciousness. Let us understand the case first. Given the generally deteriorating state of the environment, both locally and globally, the question of the extent of popular concern about environmental problems in India has been of considerable importance. So, government leaders often assume that the public is unaware of environmental problems and little concerned with their solutions. It is the assumption of the government leaders. Environmental NGOs, on other hand, often assert that common people are deeply concerned about the state of their environment, reflecting traditional beliefs that people should live in harmony with nature. Since no empirical information about environmental consciousness is available, the government needs to know that what is the level of environmental consciousness that present in India. So several concepts exist which could be applied in different problem situations. We can see here. So the above research brief of environmental consciousness is broken down into information needs using an existing concept, that hierarchy of effects, and in hierarchy of effect model, each a well accepted marketing model which aims to obtain the attention, interest, desire, and action stages an individual goes through before changing his or her behavior. So each stage is broken down into specific data endpoints. The relevant information for the environment conscious problem using the existing concept of AIDA is given below. Here, what are they? Now the awareness. The awareness cover that. What is the meaning of environment? Is it meant that immediate surroundings, or it is national level or global level? That should be aware first. Then the second question is, what causes damage of environment? The people should know whether plastic is damaging, pollution is damaging, or aerosols are damaging the environment, or cutting of trees. That should be very clear. The third question is, what is the extent of damage? Water pollution is responsible. Extent of damage is air pollution, tsunami, floods, global warming. So many reasons are there. What is the extent of damage? That should be understood. Then, what are the possible actions? Is avoid plastic? Should we avoid plastics or carpooling or wastage of water, electricity, etc.? Should be avoided or should taken care of that, or why to protect? Said last but not the least, why to protect for present or for future? Then the third type of question is desire, attitudes and motives towards protecting the environment. Should be collective action, and who can do? Shall industry do, shall individual do, or shall government do, or some non-government organization is required to do that type kind of action? Then if it is the question of action, then what kind of action? What are you doing? What is your action? Are you avoiding plastics? Are you carpooling? Are you reducing wastage of water and electricity, etc.? In that way, you are reducing. Okay. Then the second case is case of online versus offline. It says, the second case we are going to discuss, that MBA education March to 2020 saw the beginning of online mode of education for residential and non-residential MBA programs. So in this case, we are discussing about the residential and non-residential MBA programs. While online education has been there for several years, the pandemic necessitates all educational institute to opt for online teaching mode for the 2 years MBA programs. Ever since, there has been a considerable debate whether the institute can grant the same for 2 year MBA program degree by having online or offline sections simultaneously. This is a research problem. Now, if we are talking about now, we are talking about the decision area. So, if this is the situation, what will be the decision area? The decision area, we can say, can the institute parallelly have online and offline sections for the 2 year MBA programs? This is the decision area. Then coming to the second method, that is conceptualization. Conceptualization says, would the delivery, learning, and acceptance, three things model, be the same if the institute parallelly runs online or offline section for the MBA program? That should be understood. That is illustrated in the figure 3.5 DLA framework. Here the institute is going giving delivery like class in offline and online mode, and AICT is also there accepting. What is the delivery? What their delivery institute is delivering? What then from delivery? What is the learning outcome, and what student is getting? And what about the recruiters? Then we will be interested to know what is the preference of that, what is the pedagogy, and what is adoption and motivation for this. So based on that model, these are the following questions, like institute under institute is, it is coming that facilitates, what it facilitates, what are the resources the institute is giving, and what are the culture and image of the institute. If we are coming to the faculty, then are they are they comfortable? Is it preferable? What is the willingness of the faculty? It is full-time faculty or visiting faculty is required. What is the differences in pedagogy in offline and both in online mode? Differences in course, adaptability again is a question, motivation, evaluation, all these are the questions coming under faculty mode. Then coming to the students, what type of connectivity we can get from both type of study? And same way, comfort, preference, motivation, in class versus off class learning, that should be understood. Then what kind of faculty student interaction is there? Is it happening or not? What about the recruiters perception by the industry also, and AICT, who is approval authority of this program? So we can say here that once we understand the decision tree, which will help us for taking any kind of decision. We have seen in the case, second case, that DLA framework, how the MBA offline and online MBA program, if we are running both of them, what are the consequences and what the problem will occur, we can identify by using this research area, one method, or second method by conceptualization. So we have seen the flowchart. Let us compare the previous year flowchart, which I had given in the second prior case. Let me go there. The decision tree for garage bottler. Here, garage bottler segments. We can see here we are taking the decision tree, but in that case we are considering the decision tree as well as the conceptualization. In a decision tree, we can see here garage bottler segments. When it will come? In a decision segments. Decision segment lead to this garage bottler program or segments. We can say it has two norms. One is house with closed garage and house with not closed, or you can say contraction garage. In both the case, we are going to the same concept, how it is working or not. Then here we can easily understand, we are only talking about the decision tree, how decision tree is helpful. So under the chart that house with closed garage, the decision segment, it is a now this one decision segment is how the garage is closed one. So if it is so, houses with servants and row houses without servants. So again, there are two questions or two cases. If the houses with servant and houses where servants are not there, servants are not there, no servants is working. Now, the house which knows with servant, they need the status. We should understand what is the status. And so a house where there is no servants, no servant is working, then it needs security. The status say it needs security. If security is required, then have product knowledge. The person or the house is searching for the security, so he also should go for the garage button. If it is so, that person should understand, or the knowledge about the product must be there with that knowledge, with that person, or no product knowledge. It may happen also. Sometimes we need the product, but we have no knowledge about that product. If we have knowledge about that product, then problem solving decision process will start. It says that I'm talking about one chain that I required that product, I have the knowledge, then it is now easy for me to take the decision that I should go for that product, as because the security purpose is priority for me, then I will go definitely go for the garage bottle. But if for the secure my house, in my home there is no servant, I need for the security purpose for that same product, but no product knowledge with me, then what I will do? What should be done? Now, definitely subcontent led decision process, as because I have no idea about the product. In the prior case, there is no servant, there is open garage, no servant, security is required, and I have also sufficient knowledge about that product. Then the decision process was too clear and too easy for me. But here in this case, where I have no knowledge about that product, but everything prior to this example is with me. I mean, the security purpose is required, product is required, but the product I have no product idea. Then what we'll do now, subcontained decision means I'm not directly going to take the knowledge going to take the decision, means technical knowledge to exports. Then what I will do now, for the decision information I need for a technical sufficient or technical savvy person to take the decision. But in the previous case, I'm ready to take the decision that utility or you're going to utilize the product in my house. Coming to the right side of the flowchart, that house under contraction companies. So we can say influence architects or builders. If it is there, then I will go for definitely a builder or architect to design this in my garage. Then processions, utility importance. Then I will then what I will do? I will go for the knowing that what is the utility, how to handle, how to manage, the knowledge about that product. Again, we are coming here to the knowledge of the knowledge about the product. So once we get the knowledge, if I'm knowledge savvy about that product, then I will definitely go for the design. Yes, I will take. If again I'm unable to take any kind of knowledge, then I will go for the expert. So these charts or these trees help me to take such kind of decision in my problem. The same way, whenever marketing research also, whenever I'm getting any kind of problem, it may be decline in sales, it may be retention of employees, it may be any financial problem in companies, or it may be any kind of service related problem. I must go for a step by step information. We have need to understand. We need to find out what is the decision area, what kind of decision is required. So once we identified the research problem, by exploring about the from the research symptoms, we need to go for step by step, or we need to know what is the decision area. Once we find out the decision area, then it will be easier for our part to take the what kind of decision is required for my problem and what I can afford for that. Then existing concept, then the if we'll discuss the second one, coming to the second method, that is conceptualization, that we are using either we are using applying existing concept or developing a new concept. It is also most required because sometimes with the existing concept, once we understand the decision tree or the decision gaps, from the decision tree also it is helpful for identifying the gaps and what is required exactly. We came to know from the decision tree, then we can say whether we will move with the existing concept, that I know where is the failure point where the concept is failed. Then I can overcome that concept, and I can overcome that problem from the existing concept. Then ultimately there is no issue with the existing concept. I will run it. If it is so, then also I require the decision tree. Will understand what is the sequence, what is the problem. I will go with that. But after understanding the gaps, if it is identified that no, the existing concept has a problem, existing concept is not working, then I must develop a new concept for the research problem or the research objective. I must need to definitely. Otherwise, I cannot find a good solution, or I cannot give it very good decisions to address that problem. So concept also plays a very good important, or we can say a very crucial role, vital role in that case of research problem. We need to understand what is the research concepts, whether the concept is working or not. Yet we have seen the environmental government and regarding the environmental consciousness, who what are the questions and how to be addressed. The concept, what is the old concept is there, whether the old concept is working, or or the concept is not at all working. So need to identify. Once these things are addressed, then no one can stop me to find to give a good decision to address the my problem. So like the questions, once we understand the question, then only we can be able to find out what are the relevant questions. That is also most important to before finding out the decision area. Here, like in environment case, we find out the most important areas: awareness, then causes of damage, what are the extent of damage, if damages is there, then what is the extent of damage, then possible actions, what are the possible actions that is coming under the interest, if I'm interested, then if actions is known, then how to, why to protect, we should understand also why to protect the and what to protect again, whether I'm going to protect my present or I'm protecting environment to, for my future. Then the desire means I want to, it is my willingness, I want to protect the environment or to correct the, to take the correct actions, that what should be my attitudes and motives towards protecting the environment. So and this attitude and motives both should be very clear, then only my desire will come, otherwise not. Then if it is so, my desire is there to correct the environment or to correct or protecting the environment, then I should take go for a correct action. So who can do? Under correct actions, we can say who can do that action. Whether the industry is the only responsible area, or the person who can correct the environment, or individual, who are the individuals which is more than the industry, they are responsible, or they can take the correct actions toward the protecting of environment, or the government, or we can say the non-government organizations also responsible, or they can also involve in the correction of these actions. Who are the person involved? And if there is a question of correction of actions, so we must know what is the action. Action means what are you doing? In action, what are you doing? Like the segments, the reasons, I mean we are addressing the reasons, that are we going to avoid the plastics to protect the environment? Our carpooling is creating the pollution or damaging the environment, as are we go for stop carpooling? Or what we will do, whether we will go for the reducing wastage of water or electricity, etc., to protecting our environment. What exactly need to do, what action exactly need required? So these things are basic questions, and these basic questions to be find out first carefully, then only we can identify the research objective, or we can say the research problem clearly. Once it is very clear, then only we can say we have covered carefully, or we have covered the situation, or you can say the research problem, or which is otherwisely known as the first step of the research process. So the probability, in summary, we can say the probability of gathering the data needed to address the research problem increase if the problem can be properly identified. The problem defines pages is essential to the success of the research process, since a problem, as we initially we discussed, that the problem well defined is a problem half solved. In this unit, as we discussed the area decision area, research problems, converting a decision area into research objectives, that will help us in various examples. And we also discussed three examples, and or we can say case studies. We discussed what should be the right examples, right questions for them. So, and also we discussed three methods of converting a decision problem into research problems area, like the interaction method, conceptualization method, and the decision tree method. Thank you. With that, we are concluding the third unit of the past law. Then we will meet in the next session. Thank you.